Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our virtual open day. We are so sorry that we're not here on site speaking to you. We were tremendously looking forward to the vast numbers of parents who wanted to come and see the school, and we're so proud to show it off to you. And many of our teachers and girls were also looking forward to having visitors on site. Unfortunately, we're in the position that we had to take it remotely, but I would like to tell you that very promisingly, we had the vaccination service in yesterday, and our girls who are below sixth form were offered the vaccination, and the take-up was very high. And so we're hoping after a couple of weeks of immunity building, and that will mean our cases will really drop over half term. So we hope we can be very much more back to normal from the beginning of November. I'm glad to say we've got two of our sixth form with us today. The numbers of the sixth form are really low, which is great because they have been vaccinated, which is fantastic. So we've got B, our head girl, and we've got Rabia, who's my head of day. So two of my head girl trio are joining us today. I've also got my first deputy, Simon Hawkes, who is in charge of staff and operations, but might help out if you've got any questions about sort of co-curricular, that sort of life in school would be great. Then in the way you're looking above him, we have Dr. Stanton-Ive, who's my academic director, academic deputy head. And above that, we have hidden by a horse at the moment, but we'll come out of the horse when we have the questions on the screen, is Mrs. Proctor, who's my pastoral deputy head. And we also joined by Julia Mullen, who's going to be our question master for today. And she is our director of admissions and marketing. So we hope you've enjoyed seeing the film. We will answer as many questions you're able to offer now. We do have further dates in the diary for open days. We have one coming up on March the 24th, and we also have what we call Meet the Heads, which is when smaller groups of families can come in and get to meet me and other members of the staff and have a look around. And we also have private tours. So there are other opportunities for you to come to Headington. I'm really hoping I've got some questions. So Jules, have you got some questions for us?
Yes, of course. So Anne-Marie, I think we'll start with the academic one that I've got so far about Latin in school.
Yes, indeed. Good morning. All of our upper three year 7 students start Latin at Headington. And additionally, we have quite significant intake as well in the upper 4 coming from prep schools who may have already started Latin, and those students are catered for according to their experience of the subject. So it's something that you do right from the word go. And there's opportunities also to take up classical Greek further up. Okay.
Lovely, thank you. I'll just pop this one up as well.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Critical thinking, communication and collaboration. So these are very, very central to what we do at Headington. Sometimes we approach that in quite a formalized way. So all of our lower 6 pupils take a course in critical and creative thinking, where they are challenged and stretched beyond the core syllabus of the subjects that they've chosen to do. Beyond that, we also have opportunities in sixth form and now also in middle school for pupils to select to do either the extended project qualification or the higher project qualification, where they have opportunities to extend themselves again beyond curriculum. And should they wish, they can also do a collaborative project working alongside other pupils and producing an outcome there. Lower down the school in science, we incorporate a lot of project work where students are encouraged to think and developing their understanding of core concepts such as flight was one that the lower school undertook recently. We give a lot of opportunities for our pupils also to make presentations in class, and also our scholars program enables pupils to work and then communicate to a wider audience what they've been working on in terms of their projects and their thinking.
That's great. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Simon, shall we talk about other scholarships as well, leading on from Anne-Marie?
Yeah, happy to do so. So there are at year 7 entry, and indeed at 13 plus and at 16 plus, there are a whole range of scholarship opportunities. So at year 7 and at the other entry points, we do have art scholarships. We also have dance, drama, music and sport scholarships, and academic scholarships, of course, as well. So for year 7 entry, if you want to apply for one of the co-curricular scholarships, one of those first 5, including art, then you apply and come in for an assessment day late on in the autumn term. And for art, that assessment involves an interview, talking through a portfolio of work, and it also includes doing a drawing task. And, you know, we assess a large number of girls for all the different scholarships at year 7 entry. The standard is always extremely high. And those girls who are successful, they get to take part in our scholarship programme, which has a series of events throughout the year. We have a scholars dinner, there are masterclasses and workshops and scholars trips. And, you know, the art scholars will work in a particular programme separate to the sports scholars, but they will come together with the academic scholars for certain celebratory events like the dinner. I mentioned the academic scholarship. For year 7 entry, you don't apply for the academic scholarship. We invite the highest performing candidates back from our entrance day. So year 7 academic scholarship entry is slightly different. And I think that covers it. The only difference for those of you listening who are interested in 16 plus entry, we've recently introduced a new range of special awards for our strongest scholarship candidates, including a Headmistress's Award, which girls with a particular interest in an area not covered by another scholarship, a leadership opportunity, for example, entrepreneurship, can apply. And we also have a special award for creative arts, and that goes beyond what we offer within the art curriculum. So there's opportunities, for example, for a girl applying for 16 plus who has a particular interest in, say, something like animation. You know, they might submit a portfolio there, and we will award a special award in that area. So lots of opportunities.
Lovely, thanks, Simon. Following on from that creative arts theme, Jonathan has asked a question about woodworking and engineering.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really excited about our newest building, our newest facility at school, the Hive. I hope that everyone listening has seen information about it online. And it's a shame we haven't been able to have a tour of the building today, and we hope that you will see one soon. In the Hive, our Creativity and Innovation Centre, to give it its full title, we have a whole range of new art studios upstairs, textiles and fine art studios. But on the ground floor, we have a fantastic series of facilities that allow pupils to do a whole load of different subjects. So we have a 3D studio, and that's, Jonathan, what you're talking about here with workshop type skills and engineering. So the 3D studio is where we teach creative engineering and design to all of our year 7s and year 8s, and also to those year 9s that opt for it, which this year was almost all of them. And pupils in middle school, GCSE, and pupils in sixth form doing A-level who choose to do an independent project, an EPQ or an HPQ, might choose to produce a 3D outcome, an engineered project, and they would use that facility for it. But also on the ground floor of the Hive, we don't just have the 3D studio, we also have a digital manufacturing suite. So those pupils who are interested in engineering, they could be designing components on computer, using computer-aided design, and manufacturing components using the latest technology, including computer-controlled routers and cutters, and 3D printers, and a digital embroidery machine as well. And beyond that, and slightly moving on from Jonathan's question, we also have a fantastic lens media suite and a darkroom area. We have a space where we teach history of art in there as well. So there's a whole range of different practical options within the Hive.
Lovely, thanks, Simon. There's a question here from Michelle that I will just answer there. Hello, Michelle. Yes, year 9 is one of our main entry points to the school. So we generally welcome about 40 to 45 girls into year 9 each year. Obviously, year 7 and year 12 are other main entry points as well. Let's move back to academic now. Anne-Marie, I've got a question here about how we help girls that might be struggling with something.
Yes, thank you. And that's a really important question. So while we are an academically selective school, no girl is the same as the next. And it's completely understandable that some subjects should be more congenial than others, or certain topics within subjects may require more support to in order for the girl to unlock them. So initially, the class teacher would offer extra support. One of the expectations we do have of our pupils is to make it known and to communicate any areas of difficulty they're experiencing. So they have that direct communication with their teacher. If not, the teacher might identify it in a piece of homework. And so that support will usually happen from the class teacher. Additionally, we have help clubs that are run by departments, and again, to encourage more independence in our girls, we ask them to come with their questions to the help club, so the member of staff can then assist them in unlocking that problem and supporting them in that. Beyond that, higher up the school, we also have academic mentors that help our pupils to organise their learning and to manage those kind of difficulties effectively. If it's a case of learning support, if there's an additional educational need, we have a learning support department with expert members of staff who will help girls either on a more long-term basis or on a short-term basis, which might just be a question of embedding a certain study skill in them. So I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. And we have a question here about languages.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so we have a range of languages available. We have the two classical languages, Latin and Ancient Greek, which we've touched upon already. And then we have the major European languages, German, French, Spanish. And then there's also Chinese as a popular option with some of our pupils too. So there's quite a broad range there.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Right, Amanda. Let's pop Amanda on the screen. I've got a question here about sixth form induction. I'll just answer that first bit. So again, in sixth form, we have, between kind of 40 and 60 girls join us at sixth form. It very much depends. But we have a fabulous induction programme. And maybe then we can ask our head girls as well what they thought about it.
Yeah, so we spend quite a lot of time making sure that the girls settle in quickly when they join us at school. Most new year groups, so the sixth form being one of them, are invited to come into school the day before term officially starts in September. And that gives us an opportunity to allow girls to meet key staff and to familiarise themselves with the site, and also for us to be able to deliver some certain key messages that will hopefully help them settle in. And then there are things like the more practical tasks of helping girls to bond with members of their form groups and then with the wider year group, and really start to become part and feel part of the Headington family, and in this case the sixth form community. And we follow that up, so it's not just a one-day induction programme. There are various key messages that are drip fed into the girls over the first few weeks, and usually 2 to 3 weeks in we have a further sort of bonding or activity day where most year groups come off timetable and we do something quite specific then, and that might be something that Bea and Rabia want to say a little bit more about. The other thing that we have for any girls coming in new to boarding is a separate but complementary boarding induction programme. And in boarding, the girls are all allocated to what we call house families, so that they get to know older, perhaps more experienced boarders, and possibly younger ones as well, depending which houses they come into. And there is a full induction programme for boarding as well, including various trips out into Oxford to familiarise themselves with their surroundings, as well as sort of all sorts of fun activities. So perhaps Bea or Rabia can tell us a little bit about their experiences.
Yeah, so on my lower sixth induction day, we all were sorted into our forms and we got to meet our form teacher, which was really nice because I hadn't known my form tutor previously. So it was nice to have that day where everyone sort of introduced themselves and you got that little introduction to them. And the lower sixth this year, unfortunately, we didn't get to do it last year because we had COVID restrictions in place. They've just been to the Kassam Stadium for their bonding day and they got to do crazy golf and bowling and things like that. And I know that it was really beneficial for all of them and they all had a lot of fun. So I think their year group, has really enjoyed their induction program and bonding activities and things that take place in the lower sixth.
Rabia, let's just pop you up to say hello.
Hi, I just thought I'd add a really good thing that happened on our induction was that we were buddied up with someone else that we didn't know. We got to have a nice drink in the cafe and just get to know them. It was really good to also meet your new forms, like Bee's already said, and the people in your year before getting stuck into lessons the next day. So it was just a really nice day and get to know different people.
Lovely. Thanks. Rabia, whilst you're on the screen, I've got a question here about the opportunity to kind of create, clubs and teams and things. Do you want to talk a little bit about that for sixth form? And then I'll pop Simon up to add a bit more.
Yeah, of course. So in the sixth one, we're really lucky to be able to create our own clubs. So I run MUN, which is Model United Nations. So I started that with a few friends, and we kind of debate current affairs, worldly issues. So it's really nice. It's usually a popular choice, and people come. You can do it after school, that kind of thing. I know Bee runs FemSoc, so we should like to talk about that because that's something that she started up after it wasn't here for a few years. People do Race Club, which is a really big thing, especially after the BLM movement. It was important to bring that back. So yeah, there's a huge range, and there's also so many on offer already. So there's sports activities, there's art and drama opportunities. So yeah.
Lovely. Thanks, Rabia. Let's pop Simon up to talk about non-core sport teams.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about sport, I actually prefer to talk more about active options, because the aim for us really is that, by the time the girls get to the sixth form, by the time they've been here a few years, that they've found something active that they enjoy doing and do voluntarily every week. And that it's important to recognise that for some girls, that's not always a competitive team sport, or even an individual competitive sport. And, if it turns out that it's dance or rock climbing or yoga or Pilates, or Zumba, those things are fine as well. But to talk specifically about non-core sports, our focus in terms of what we do in games times, we do have a focus sport of hockey in autumn, netball in spring, tennis and cricket in summer. Cricket increasingly popular, but we really emphasise choice. Girls tend to get enthusiastic about the active options that they opt into. So whilst hockey is the focus in autumn, for most year groups, football is the most popular second option, and we do give the girls choice about what they do in games. It's true to say that, in years 7, 8, 9, 10, if a girl is a team hockey player, we will encourage her to continue to play for the hockey team. But if she arrives here with no hockey experience and would prefer to continue with football or try football out, then football is a second option. And the older the girls get, the wider the range of opportunities within those curriculum games times. And then, of course, beyond curriculum sport, there's a huge range of optional sport on offer as well. If your daughter's a competitive swimmer, there are opportunities there. We have an amazing boat club, and lots of our girls choose to try rowing. That's an extracurricular sport as well. So the opportunities are endless, really. And as I said, the key thing is that every girl does something active.
Thanks, Simon. Caroline, I've got a question here about, our transition through to sixth form. Oh, you're on mute. You win.
I won as the first one who got that wrong. So we have a good number who's down for sixth form, which is great. So we have about 75% of our girls will stay for sixth form. Some of them are choosing somewhere different after maybe have been through the school from the age of 3 and just want to do something a little bit different. There's a few girls who will go to state providers at that time. The good thing for Headington is we have a large number of girls who want to come in at that stage. So our sixth form is generally the same size, if not a little bit larger than the year group has been in middle school. So we have a very competitive entry. So it works on balance very well. There is so much on offer for the girls in our sixth form. So many different subjects. We've introduced some new subjects now recently that have been very popular. History of art and photography have been added this year. Dance and PE were added before. So we've got, I think it's something like 26 different A-level subjects. So there's a huge amount of choice for the girls, and some of the girls will decide to come into boarding in the sixth form. Having been a day girl before, that's another option that makes it feel very different.
Lovely. Thanks, Karen. And it's a really good question here about how do we decide who to offer a place to?
So what we do is we have different entry points at different times. And what you do is there are assessments that are appropriate for your age group. We do make sure that girls take some kind of test. It's not a very high stakes test. It's more about making sure that they have the right level in order that they're going to thrive under our curriculum. And then as far as a sibling is concerned, we would look at individual families. What we don't want to do is take a weaker sibling in who really is going to struggle. That would be the wrong thing for her and the wrong thing for the family. So we have a very honest discussion if ever that is the case. But we are conscious that many families want to stay together, and we're very lucky that we have many families up and down the school.
Lovely, thank you. And here's a question here about support for preparing for entrance exams.
Yeah, so we have we send some things out from the admissions office telling you the sort of tests that they're going to do. What I would like to say is the day that they come in is a Saturday, and we do everything we possibly can to make them feel comfortable. There's lots of our prefects around, there's our teachers around, they're put in a small group, in a classroom where they do these tests. It's not like a great big exam hall. We do lots of exciting extracurricular things as well. We give them hot chocolate break, we have a school lunch, lots and lots of different things to make them feel really comfortable, and they have a chat with us individually. One member of the senior team will have a chat with them, and we want them to be as comfortable as they possibly can be, so we get to know them and see them at their best. As well as that, we get the school to send us a reference, and that's really important because we know that people have good and bad days. We will always look at where the girl has come from. We don't want them to be hugely over-prepared. That's not the point. It's about just being comfortable and coming to do their absolute best. And that work continues, actually. And what we do in the summer term, if we've offered you a place, is we will come and visit. One of my pastoral members of the school will come and visit your daughter in her school, as long as the school is happy to meet her. Hopefully the head teacher's happy for her to show around. So we're getting to know the school, the environment she's coming from. And she, of course, is getting to know us even better. And they actually come in for a Saturday morning in May as well. Now, it's interesting, over the last week, we've had 2 occasions for our Year 7 parents to come in. We had a coffee morning on Wednesday morning, and yesterday we had a digital skills day all day, and we asked the parents in for tea at the end of it, and we had an evening session to tell them what we've been teaching their daughters during the day, and they couldn't have been more grateful for the way that we have introduced their girls. And some of these girls are coming from very small primary schools, and they said the school is very large, there's lots of different things to do, but she knows her way around, she's looked after, and so the pastoral support we've got in place works very well, even coming from the smallest schools.
Thanks, Caroline. And one last one for you at the moment.
Yeah. So we used to have the IB. We don't have the IB anymore, and that's one of the reasons we've been able to increase the number of A-level subjects that we've got. We've also got the creative and critical thinking course that Anne-Marie mentioned earlier, and we also have electives, and we also have the EPQ, which is the extended project qualification, which is very similar to the EE. So because of that, we think the very best of the IB is still embedded in our sixth form, and in fact our teachers throughout the school. And so we do have a good number of girls who look for going to the US. Now, some of those are scholarship girls, and we've got a fantastic sports program. They're not necessarily just rowers. We've got a fantastic girl at Harvard who is an amazing athlete. We do have a lot of rowers who go over there, but we also have a lot of girls who just go over for academic reasons. And we provide support by giving them access to SAT training. Our teachers are well versed in how to write college support them in applications and the counsellor aspect of that. And indeed, we have somebody who's in charge of overseas admissions. And it's not just overseas as the US. We also have girls who go to Europe, girls who go to Japan and Australia on occasion, and indeed the girls who go to Hong Kong and to China. So we have a huge number of variety of girls. I've seen some other questions, so I may as well take them all now about university entrance. Last year, 86% of our girls went to Russell Group, which is a high number. And we do have a few girls who will take different kind of routes. They'll take diplomas at at drama school, or they'll go to a musical conservatoire. We have a small number going to Oxbridge, and we support them with a special Oxbridge programme. But it's a wide variety of different places that the girls go to.
Thanks, Caroline. Simon, I've got a question here about drama scholarships, and then we can maybe, because I know that B is very keen on drama, we can ask her about drama too.
Yeah, so the drama scholarship assessment is fairly similar across the 3 entry points: 11 plus, 13 plus, and 16 plus. We ask applicants to prepare monologues. So they prepare a short monologue. They're asked to read a play and do a monologue and extract a piece from it, and then perform that in our theatre in front of our drama staff. We also have an interview, and in drama we also do a group activity. So we ask all of the applicants to do a kind of a group workshop together, and we observe how they interact with their peers. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Right, I've lost B. There she is. B, tell us about your experience of drama at Headington.
Yeah, of course. So I actually did try for a drama scholarship when I joined Headington, but was unsuccessful in that. But even though I was unsuccessful, I was still able to pursue drama to a really high level once I came to the school. So I've taken part in speech and drama lessons, which is sort of an external drama exam that you can take either alone or with a pair. So I've done, I think, grade 6, 7, and 8 of speech and drama. And then I've been in school productions. So we're currently working on the winter production of Chicago, and I'm involved in that. I've also been involved in Fame, and we did a Brecht play a couple of years ago. And the standard of drama at Headington is really high. The performance value of every single performance that's been put on during my time at the school has been amazing. So even though I wasn't successful when I attempted for the drama scholarship, it never ended my interest or enjoyment of drama, and I was able to carry on being involved in it throughout my Headington career. So I really enjoyed it.
Lovely, thanks, B. Simon, I've got a question here about inter-school competitions.
Yeah, so in general, we run lots of fixtures. We try to run as many fixtures as possible, and we also offer fixtures in all of our main sports and many of our sort of supporting sports, as I was talking about earlier, across as many different teams in each age group as there is demand for. So if we have enough girls in year 8, say, who want to play competitive hockey, then we will put 3 or 4 teams out for those schools who will be able to put 3 or 4 teams out to players. All of our fixtures take place, well, predominantly our fixtures take place midweek after school, so late afternoon, early evening. But there are some sporting fixtures for the top performing teams at the weekend. So there might be some cup tournaments and so forth that take place at the weekends, but those are the exception rather than the rule. And what we find is that our most enthusiastic hockey players, netballers, footballers, and so on, will actually play club sport and often compete for their clubs at the weekend. As I say, there are always exceptions. I mentioned the boat club and rowing earlier. Those girls train every weekend on the river, and races are often at the weekends or in the school holidays even. Swimmers, we do have a small number of inter-school swimming competitions, and of course there is the city and county swimming competitions. So our competitive swimmers probably do around 4 or 5 competitive swimming opportunities in a school year, and those competitions will usually be midweek and during the day.
Lovely, thanks, Simon. I'll just answer a few of these admissions type questions. All of the information about the entrance days will come to you once you have registered for a place here at the school, so we'll make all of that clear to you in due course. Simon, there's a question here about community outreach.
Yeah, so we're really keen that Headington girls aren't behind the wall and within the school and not looking outwards. We want the girls to learn to look outwards, and so we have a community outreach program that is quite varied as we go through the school. So for our younger girls, upper 3 to upper 4, years 7, 8, 9, we tend to run individual outreach programs, different for each year group. So we do a community litter pick event for the year 9s every year. Our year 7s usually go and sing Christmas carols in one of the local care homes, with whom we have a very close relationship and we do other work with. So we tend to do those sorts of events lower down the school. As girls get older, they'll take part in more bespoke and individual community outreach events. Many of our girls do Duke of Edinburgh and volunteer as a result. And all of our sixth formers take part in lower sixth and upper sixth in a community service programme that involves outreach with local community as well. Beyond that, we have a very strong and enthusiastic charity committee, and they always raise money for local charities and support local events. And that's a pupil-led charity committee as well. And then that's all pupil-centric, but as a school, of course, as well, we have strong links with local primary schools and other community groups, and they come and use our facilities. We have a local primary school uses our music department, and we really like our pupils to support those arrangements and to build their leadership skills by working with younger pupils or working with local community groups.
Lovely, thank you. Are you happy to take this one about travel and transport?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have an extensive bus network. We're part of the Oxford Schools Bus Partnership, which is a group of independent day schools in the city. We combine together to allow us to have a larger network of buses. And Jules and the admissions team and on the school website, I believe, can provide you with details of all of those routes. But some of those routes going out in the High Wycombe direction go out a long way. And I think, Jules, I'm correct in saying that we have somewhere between 150, 180 girls this year who use the OSPB bus routes, the various routes that we have.
Absolutely. And there's obviously a great local transport network as well.
Well, the majority of our girls, in fact, will use the city bus network and local train services to travel in and out of school every day. Yeah.
I know you'll like this question with your unofficial
I've misplaced my hat. Yeah, my boy's hat. We always get asked this question, and for good reason. We are an all-girls school, but we want to make sure that the girls have appropriate interactions, with boys from other local schools as they move up through the school. Oxford's an interesting city. There are lots of independent schools here, and lots of them are single sex. And that gives us lots of opportunities to have meaningful interactions with other schools. So in the lower school, we have discos and so on, and we do those sorts of socials. But as girls move up through the school, we really work hard to make sure that we join with boys on events. So some good examples are we until recently have run annual dance day with Magdalen College School, where our upper four, year 9s, have spent a whole day with their peers from Magdalen College School coming up to Headington and learning tango and ballroom and salsa dances. And that's been fantastic, skills-based day that the boys and girls have really enjoyed. We, in the middle school as well, we have a programme of thinking suppers and dinners and debates with Abingdon School boys. Those are very successful. Also with Abingdon and in fact with Radley, we've run joint trips, so language exchanges to Germany, CCF trips, so combined cadet force field weekends, and Duke of Edinburgh training days and exhibitions. They're always very popular, and it's very, very useful, in fact, to combine with other schools on those. We have a long-running curry and quiz night with Radley and Marlborough College and Headington girls that we do a couple of times a year. We're extending that down from sixth form to middle school this year as well. And then whenever we host lectures and seminars or attend competitions like Model United Nations, we always reach out to other schools and make sure that we're inviting boys to attend those lectures. We have a History Association lecture coming up just after half term for our senior historians. Boys from Magdalen College School and from Radley will be coming to attend that. And we try and make sure that when we host those sorts of events, we put in place a small social before or after, perhaps a dinner, a discussion group, just to make sure that the girls and boys get to interact. So lots and lots of opportunities.
Lovely, thank you. And one more for you about the school day.
Gosh, yeah. So how does the timetable look like for a week for lower school? Well, girls in lower school are incredibly busy. So our lessons run from 8:35 to 4 p.m. And mid-morning, pretty much every day, the girls come together in their form group to meet with their form tutor for a pastoral session as well. A full school day has 6 academic lessons in it, and lessons are 50 minutes long. And we make sure that at lunchtime, each year group has a dedicated lunch slot for their year group. And that's a special time. It can't be used for anything else. The girls go as a year group for lunch and sit with their peers for a civilised lunch in the middle of the day. In lower school as well, it's not always 6 academic lessons a day. 1 day a week, they will have a double games afternoons. They'll be out doing games. They'll also have a PE lesson and a dance lesson within that weekly cycle as well. And for girls in lower school, there are 2 lunchtimes per week where they do a compulsory lunchtime activity. So we call that the activity carousel. They choose from a wide range of activities at lunchtime, and then we make them rotate and opt into something else every half term. The aim of that is to make sure that they get to try new things and also mix with other girls in the year groups as they get to know the year group gradually, bit by bit. So it's a busy week. And of course, with lessons finishing at 4, it's not the end of the school day. We have lots of activities running between 4 and 6. So your average lower school girl will be doing an activity a couple of times a week after school. It could be a drama rehearsal. It could be a sports fixture. It could be an art club. And she's actually free to stay in school after 4 if she wants to, even if she's not got an activity. And lots of the girls take advantage of that and go to our library and do their homework in school before heading home.
Thanks, Simon. Anne-Marie, I've got a question here about how we introduce inspirational speakers across our curriculum.
Yes, indeed, that's a really good question. And I think that word inspirational is a very important one to latch onto. We're very blessed here in Oxford because we have a lot of access to the university, and not only through our parent network, but through other connections as well. And we find that academics from the universities, from the 2 universities indeed, are very generous with their time. And we invite them in to speak to our pupils either on more general subjects, or they might be specifically sort of academic in their focus. We are also very, very blessed, as I said, by our parent community who belong to a network, and they offer up their services to come and speak to our pupils, either remotely, that's worked really well during lockdown, or in person. And beyond that, we also have a PSHE programme throughout the school. And particularly in 6th form, we often have speakers coming in not only to speak about exceptional careers that they may have, but also about phases in their lives which haven't perhaps gone so well and how they've overcome them, people who've done exceptional things. And then there's a chance for pupils to ask questions and to talk about them. So they're exposed to people from also a very, very large range of backgrounds, which is very important too. And then we also like to have debates and discussions around what they've learned from those speakers. So it really is something that we do a lot of, and have had to sadly move a lot of that online during lockdown, but we hope to sort of resuscitate a lot of that post-COVID. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Anne-Marie. Amanda, I've got a question here about our Christian values.
Yeah, so very much Christian values do underpin a lot of what we do. And by that, I mean sort of things like kindness, tolerance, respect for others, those sorts of things. We have a chaplain who will lead our whole school prayers once a week. But I think it's important to say, and Rev Hal would certainly say this, he is there for girls of the Christian faith, but equally girls of all other faiths as well. And one of the things that we very much encourage is for awareness raising of other cultures and faiths within school, because we are a very diverse community, and we will be equally at ease celebrating things like Diwali and other festivals from other religions, just as much as celebrating Christmas and Easter, for example. We have a chapel room in school, which is an area where any members of staff or any girls can use for quiet reflection, for meditation, for prayer, or just somewhere as a sort of safe space sort of to go to. And Rev Hal will run various different activities that girls who are interested in exploring the Christian faith further, where they can go. And we have things called explore groups. We have some sort of mini Christian union type groups that are as much pupil led as sort of staff supported. And we also help to prepare any girls for confirmation, should they wish to do that. So I think sort of trying to encourage sort of everyone in the community to be kind to one another, to be respectful, to be tolerant. Those sorts of values do underpin a lot of the pastoral work we do. And so that sort of Christian underpinning of the school is very important to us.
Thank you, Amanda. I've got another popular question here about mobile phones.
Yes. So a lot of people ask us about mobile phones. We are really clear on our mobile phone policy for the girls. We completely respect that some girls have quite long journeys and parents want to know that their girls are safe and are able to communicate with them. And so, we do accept that the girls will bring phones to school for often very good reasons. But what we say is that between sort of 8 o'clock in the morning or when they arrive at school and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we do not want to see them. So we expect the girls to put those phones away and either lock them in their lockers or keep them out of sight. We don't expect to see them in use. We very much want the girls to be interacting with each other. They have school iPads from year 7 through to our upper threes, through to the end of their GCSEs. And then, of course, in the sixth form, they can bring their own devices. So they do have ways to communicate and use sort of online technology, but we don't want to see mobile phones. We do spend also on a related theme. We spend a lot of time throughout the school focused on sort of online safety, e-safety, making sure the girls know how to use their mobile technology, and particularly with social media, that they know where to go to for help if anything untoward happens. But with phones, we don't want to see them. If parents need to leave sort of messages for their daughters, obviously you can drop them a quick email that they can access on their iPads or devices, or we can get messages to them in an emergency just via reception. And obviously if they need to make a quick phone call home, they can come and ask a member of staff, and obviously we will then give them permission and make a space for them so that they can make that call, if something is going on at home and they need to keep in touch during the day.
Thank you, Amanda. Caroline, I've got quite a few questions about class sizes. Do you want to talk a little bit about that through the school?
Yes. So when we start at the bottom of the school, our maximum class sizes will be 24. And in fact, that is the case for lower and middle school. But you wouldn't tend to have GCSE groups of 24. It tends to be more like in the high teens. Also, that will depend upon the subject you're doing. So, for example, in some of our more practical subjects like art and F&N and things like that, the classes are split, so they're smaller than the 24. Also, as you go up, they have different sets for different subjects. And I've seen a question about sets there. So there are some academic sets for maths and then for languages and some for science as you go up further up the school. And we will depend upon the size of the set will be varied depending on the ability. For example, we may have let's say 7 math sets, but 6 classes. So 6 classes of geography, but they're all split up into 7 math sets, which allows us maybe to have a smaller group at the bottom who are finding math a little bit challenging at that time. In the sixth form, mostly they're around 10, I would say. Sometimes we creep up to 13, 14, and then some of those groups are a little bit smaller. We think a group of about sort of 8 to 10 is a fantastic size for a sixth form lesson, because you're going to have plenty of debate and discussion between the group with that sort of size. So that's the way it works.
Thanks, Caroline. I'll just put this question up for you, Anne-Marie, before I go back to look at some of the more admissions related questions. Thank you.
Indeed, yes. So when a girl enters Headington, it's with the expectation that she will thrive at Headington and be able to move up through the different key stages very happily and smoothly. In the very, very rare occasions where that might not be the case, we wouldn't be looking at that pupil with a sort of deficit mentality and trying to stop her from progressing up. We would do everything we can to put in support for that pupil, and working very, very closely in some of the ways that I outlined earlier with the pupil, but also with parents, guardians and family to ensure that that girl is able to succeed. There may also be pastoral support needed that might be at the heart of some sort of difficulty experienced on the academic front. As I said, that would be a very, very, very close partnership of support put in, and in the rare instances where it might not be appropriate for the people to continue, again, that would be something that we would discuss in great detail with you. And then beyond that, for sixth form, again, there would also be discussions about whether Headington is the best place for each pupil, depending on their strengths and their ambitions beyond that. But certainly we don't have these sort of threshold points where we look to ask pupils to leave us by any stretch of the imagination.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. If I can just address some of the questions that have come in about entrance days and things. So our application deadlines, firstly, are, this autumn term. So 13 plus and 16 plus tend to come first. So the application deadline for those is the 15th of October. 11 plus is slightly later. That's the 5th of November. And in terms of the entrance days, the first entrance day to happen is that for 13 plus and 16 plus, and that is on a Saturday, the 6th of November. The 11 plus, which is applications for year 7, that is on Saturday, the 27th of November. There was a question as well about when applications for financial support need to be submitted. That is the same application date for applying for a place. So if you're looking for financial assistance at 11 plus, you need to submit your form by the 5th of November. And the forms and all of the information about the Headington Access Programme and financial assistance, as well as scholarships, will come out to you in the letters that we send about the entrance day. So once you are registered, that information will be sent to you. There was a question as well about our cafeteria. Obviously, all of our food here at the school is included in the fee. So yes, we have an amazing cafeteria. It's really difficult to decide what you're going to have for lunch each day. There's a huge amount of choice there. I'll just put Caroline up. I'll just see if there's any other questions that have come in.
So a question about DV and things like that outdoors.
Yes, there we go. Let's
Simon. Well, I'm happy to take that. So yeah, absolutely there is. We have a fantastic CCF program, and the girls get involved in that and actually do overnight camping, rough camping, etc., and do some camps for up to a week. And that's some of the things they do with other boys' schools that someone was talking about earlier. We generally take the girls out a lot. I mean, some of these things are curriculum based. Last week we had the lower sixth biologists out all day doing some field work. The geographers also similarly do that, and that will happen up and down the school from the moment they come. We get them outside. A lot of our bonding activities that we had a couple of weeks ago were outside, orienteering, that sort of thing. So we very much try and do as much as we can. The site itself is really lends itself to that, and lots of green space so the girls can just spend time outside having fun and getting lots of fresh air.
I can just add a couple of things. There's something I'm not sure, it's new this year, Caroline. I'm not sure that you will be 100% aware of it. So you might be pleased to hear that with CCF and DV being for slightly older girls, we've introduced the HALO program, Headington Adventurous Learning Outdoors, which is for our year 7s and year 8s, our upper 3 and lower 4. And that's a lunchtime activity that happens during the week that's designed to introduce them to the skills and the sorts of things they will learn when they do DV and CCF. And I'd also add, I mean, John, from your image, you look like you're very much into the outdoors, that those who are really, really keen can go and compete and do every year in competitions such as the Tour de Triggs, which you might be aware of, which is sort of outdoor endurance event involving, walking through the night and so forth. So there's lots of opportunities there.
Thank you. I've got a question here about sports scholarship.
Oh, yes. So sports scholarship at 13 plus. So with the sports scholarship, there's an assessment day for all of those who apply. And that includes an interview with our performance director, who's also our head of rowing and director of sport. And all the candidates do a basic physiological test and a fitness test, what they call a multi-stage fitness test. And then everyone does sporting assessments in hockey, netball, running and swimming. And candidates can opt also to be assessed in rowing, athletics or tennis if that's a specialism.
Thank you, Simon. Let's just pop Caroline back on screen. This is an interesting question because obviously it varies, doesn't it, every year?
Yeah, it does. I mean, normally we get about half our girls come from our prep school and the other half come from local primaries. There are parents who move out to Oxford, maybe from London, as their daughter reaches the age of 11. And we have a small number of boarders who join us into year 7. More boarders join us tend to year 9 or indeed year 12. So it can be at the most about half. It will depend upon the size of the year group over at our prep school. Most of the girls at prep school do decide to continue on with us. So it's normally about half.
Lovely, thank you. I think that's the last question, Caroline. I think we've managed to answer most of those that have come in.
Great, brilliant. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. I do hope that we've given you an insight into the school. As I said, there are other opportunities. Look out on the website and through the admissions area for other opportunities for you to come and see us in person. We would love to do that and to welcome you to Headington. Thank you so much for joining us today.